Okay, can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so in order to do the Google piece, are we good with creating groups?
Yes.
Okay, so in order to create or integrate Google Drive, essentially what this is going to do is it's going to create a portal or a link to your Google Drive within Schoology. So instead of having to download whether it's the collaborative summary or the leadership learning plan, any of those Word documents that are in Schoology, instead of having to download them, fill them out, upload them, and then and put them in the shared folder, then the candidate downloads them, makes changes, and re-uploads into the shared folder. You can actually, if you're both comfortable with Google Drive, you can actually integrate Google Drive right into Schoology. So I'm going to show you how to do that. To start with, however, I'm going to go ahead and go to Schoology and just show you how I download the documents. In fact, let me get these out of the way so they're not. Okay. So in Schoology, under courses, I'll just pick, let's see, who do we have? We have Jason on the line, so I'll pick Garden Grove. Where's Garden Grove? Ah, where is it? There it is. Okay. So you'll have to download these documents that you want to share collaboratively with your candidate and upload them into a Google format within Google Drive. So you kind of have to set up that structure first, and then you can import Google Drive right in. So I'm just going to download the collaborative summary. This is simply a Word file. Even though it has this unique link at the bottom, again, I think we talked about that last time. You can use this. You can use this collaborative summary with however many. Some people are coaching for LEAD and AXA and a variety of different ones. It doesn't matter. The link is unique for logging the hours, but the collaborative summary is not. It's just a Word document. So I download that. Other things I might want to share with my candidate would be maybe the leadership and learning plan or leadership learning goals. That's kind of done collaboratively, so I'm going to download that. So those are a couple of pieces here, and I'm going to actually go to my Google Drive now and import those so that they're in the Google Drive format and they can be written on by whoever I'm sharing them with. So I'm going to switch over to my Google account and go to Drive. I kind of set up a system in here. I know I've got a lot of extra documents, but I created a Bob's collaborative summary and a Jane's collaborative summary. These are my two candidates, so that I can keep their collaborative summaries organized in here. In order to actually, I've already done it. You can see here that I've imported the template, but I'm going to show you how to do it. One thing that you need to make sure you do is, let me just show you real quick. If I just drag this in to import it, you're going to see, oops, where did it go? I'm not sure where I drug it into. Let me see if I put it in here. Oh, I'm sorry. I have mine already, my conversion already on. Okay. If I drag this in, you see how this big W? It's in Word format. And I can't do anything with it. It comes up kind of like a PDF. Your settings will default that way in Google Drive. If you want it to be in the Google Doc format and look like this little blue square, you have to change your settings. And you do that under this little cog here. And you go to Settings. This is what I had turned on. That's why it did that. But you actually... click Convert Uploaded Files to Google Docs Editor. So now anything I drag into Google Drive or upload into Google Drive will convert it to a Google Drive format automatically, and I don't need to open with Google Drive or do anything like that. So I'll actually be able to do something with it. So I'm going to make just a little new folder here for my Garden Grove collaborative summaries. And I'm going to go ahead and just drag this in here so I can use it as a template. In terms of organizing this, you're going to be making multiple copies of this. You can make multiple copies ahead of time, or just every time you do it, make a new copy. But to do that, you just, if you're on a Mac, you hold down Control and you click. If you're on a PC, you just right-click and make a copy. So if I had two different candidates, for example, over here I've got Bob and Jane. Bob's template, I only want to share this with Bob. I don't want anyone else to see it. So I created a template that I'm going to share with Bob. And then you would just share it with that candidate. Poor Bob doesn't have an email, so I can't share it with him at this point. But that's what you would do, is enter your candidate's name here and share with them. So only the two of you could write on it. And then back in my drive, Jane, the same collaborative summary template, but this one I'm actually just going to share with Jane so that just she and I can see it. So you kind of do that little bit of a structure setup ahead of time. Is that making sense to everyone? Kind of what I'm doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry, I'm getting a little lost here. I'm doing all my clicking again. I've got too many tabs open. So I've got this basic structure set up. I'll show you a couple of kind of quick tricks to make this even a little bit easier. Some people keep it on their desktop and they just keep making a new one. Once you have it in Google Drive, you can just continue to make a copy when it's open. Go up to the File menu and make a new copy. Or you can actually, I'm going to show you a little trick here. You can set up the link to this document to make a copy automatically. So up here in the URL bar, on any Google type of document, at the end, it always has a \edit. If you take edit off and put copy on there, it'll automatically prompt you to make a copy every time you open it. So you can save that link with the copy version and email it to your candidate. I'm just going to email it to myself here. Here's the link to our collaborative summary template. So this is going to keep the same sharing privileges between you and your candidate. It's just going to make a new copy every time you open it. So I can just store this in my email. And oops, when I open it, I click on it, and it's automatically going to prompt me to make a new copy. And it will store it in that same place in Google. So let me go back to my email real quick. Where was I? Mail. So what I did kind of to make my life easier is I sent a little link to myself with Bob's template, Jane's template, and the coaching log. So anytime I want to do anything, I just open this little email. If I click on Bob's template, it'll prompt me to make a copy, and I can change this to, you know, today's date and do our new collaborative summary. And maybe I met with Jane. I do the same thing. It prompts me to make a copy. I make a copy and I change it to today's date. Or actually, I'm going to go to Halloween. I'm going to go visit her on Halloween because that's a great time to visit an administrator because there's nothing going on that day. And then when I want to log their hours, I can just click on this link and log their hours. So I just kind of made a little cheat sheet within my email. Those are just some tips that may be helpful for your coaches. Questions so far on any of that? I know I'm clicking around a lot. Sorry, I'm trying to get back to my drive. So in my drive, I've got a structure of my summaries here and everything kind of set up. I shared them with the appropriate candidates. And now I want all of this to be in Schoology. Someone asked me last time, could you just work in Google Drive? Yes, you could work in Google Drive, but ultimately you have to upload them to Schoology because that's, no one else will have access to your Google Drive, any of the program accreditation people or anything like that. So you have to upload all the documents you need into Schoology, but it's really easy with Google Drive. So this is what my Google Drive looks like. I'm going to now move to the Schoology side and show you how to link the two.
Okay.
So I'm back in Schoology. I'm going to go to resources. You know what? I'm going to be my other personality real quick here. I have multiple Schoology and Google personalities. So this is Christina the coach. In my personal resources, I have my same little collections with Bob and Jane. This is ultimately where the final product of all of our work needs to end up. Otherwise, no one within the program will be able to see it because they don't have access to your Google Drive. But in the meantime, the Google Drive piece makes it more dynamic. I'm going to link my Google Drive to Schoology right now, but other folks, the only other people who would be able to see those are the ones that I'm sharing it with. So in order to link the two, you go to Resources and go to Apps. You can add a variety of apps to integrate with Schoology. If there's anyone who's a OneDrive district, you can add that and do pretty much the same thing. And as you can see, there's a few other options here. I'm actually going to go to Google. Hang on real quick. I'm going to log out so I can show you guys the process. Okay, so it should look like this when you click on Google if you have not integrated your Google yet. So what you'll do to integrate it is connect. I've already connected before, so it doesn't prompt me with the same questions, but basically the same window would come up and it would say, Google would like to access your profile, your email, and your documents. Is that okay? And you just allow it. The only caution I would say is if you have a personal Google Drive account and you have all kinds of things in there maybe that you don't necessarily want linked with Schoology, it might be a good idea for the purposes of this to create a separate Google Drive that's just for your work. So, because you can't decide which folders to import. It imports everything from Google Drive. So that's one little caveat there. So as you can see, everything that was in my Google Drive is now accessible through Schoology. I can edit it here. I can create documents just as though I were in Google Drive. So I've got this, for example, I've got a collaborative summary here Bob and I have been working on. Let me just change the date here. We've been working on this. We'll put yesterday's date on it. Bob's my candidate. I coached him. We talked about the stressors of balancing life and work. His goal is to make it through the year intact. Okay, so this is our, and maybe Bob, I take down a few notes on this. This is in Google Drive. Bob can write whatever he wants on it and edit it. Once we get to a final product, we're going to want to actually import it 100% into Schoology. So we're accessing Google Drive. The document looks like it's within Schoology, but it's just kind of a portal that's allowing us to create it collaboratively. If I want to actually permanently install it into Schoology, which is what you will have to do. You just go over to this little cog over here on the right and import the file. And you tell it where you want it to go. Since this is Bob, I'm going to send it to my Shared with Bob folder in Schoology. You could, within that folder, I might have a subfolder, like maybe it's just collaborative summaries, or maybe there's, you know, our individual induction plan, and I copy the item. So there's no uploading, downloading, any of that. Now, when I go back to my personal folder to Shared with Bob, now that's permanently installed in there. At this point now, if I want to make changes to this document that's sitting in front of me, I will have to download it and re-upload it. So the link into Google just allows you to work on these things collaboratively within Schoology, and then just drop them right into the right spot, or move them to the right spot in Schoology without having to do all that upload and download. One caution on this little cog here to the right, this is anything you do here, like if I delete this file, it will delete it in my actual Google Drive as well. This is just creating basically a portal to my Google Drive. Another thing I may want to add in here is the leadership and learning plan. So I would go back to my Google Drive, and I have this leadership learning plan, and just import it into Schoology. I'm sorry, drop it into Google Drive. And when I go back to Schoology and refresh, it should come up here. Here it is. So now I can work on this, add my expected outcomes and strategies. My candidate who I'm sharing this with, or my coach who I'm sharing it with, can review it, change the font color, and say, I think you should make this a big, hairy, audacious goal, or whatever. And then once it's finalized, we can go ahead and again upload that, import the file, and put it right there in Bob's shared folder. So now when I go to Bob's folder, there it is. So you can see how this cuts out some of the steps and then also makes the document truly collaborative. But again, I would say you would have to have folks who already have an account or are willing to create an account and are pretty comfortable with it. And the process is pretty simple. On the Google side, you want to drag or upload any documents that you want to make or have in the Google collaborative format. Make sure that conversion button is on in settings so that they will be uploaded the proper way. And then in Schoology, you go to Resources and Apps and install that Google Drive. If you want to, I had a gal at the morning session, and she said, oh, I think I decided I did import this already, but I decided I want to make a separate Google Drive account with just my work stuff. How do I get rid of it? You can go to Options and Account Settings, and you can just log out. Or you can connect with a different account. So this is showing that I'm connecting with this Gmail or this Google Drive account. So if you log out, now all my Google Apps stuff is gone. I have to reconnect. Clear as mud. How are you guys doing? Can I go, you need me to go back? Do you want me to walk you through another example? Hang on, let me bring up my little chat screen here. Or I can also walk you through while you're doing it yourself, if you would like me to do that, if you want to link it.
Yes.
Yes?
What I've been, oh,
Or do you want a minute or two to kind of try to do it and ask questions?
who's still on? This is Leslie. Is anybody else still on?
Leslie? I see Jason and Janet
Okay.
and Patricia, and that's it.
Who says, Patricia says has visual but no audio. I don't know what that means.
Uh-oh.
I'm getting,
There you are.
it connects and it disconnects, and it's taken 15 minutes to connect to you, so I don't know what's going on.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and this morning I didn't connect, and it said it was canceled, so.
That's weird.
It's telling me low bandwidth. What does that mean? Is that on my end? Or?
That's on your end. You don't have a strong enough signal to
I've got a full
stream
signal.
the live video.
I've got a full signal indicated here.
Are you at home or at school?
I'm in the same place I always am, same place I talked to you the last time. Yeah, that's what I say too.
Yeah, I don't know if it's saying low bandwidth. That's probably why you're able to hear, but sorry, not able to see the video streaming. Okay. Other questions I can help with. I kind of went through that. I hope not too quickly, but I think your coaches, if they're comfortable with that, should be able to kind of watch this WebEx and be able to do that and set it up. I think that probably some of the things that have been most helpful to the coaches that I've talked with is actually bookmarking the log instead of having to go to feeling like they have to go and open the document, the collaborative summary each time, and scroll to the bottom of it and click on that link. Oops. And rather than going here each time. Another thing that has been confusing for some of the coaches that we've gotten questions on is that if they do have first and second year people, they're saying they're not seeing their candidates on the list. It's because they're looking at the wrong list.
Right. I had that, Christina. And
yeah.
The other thing is that they make sure they use the collaborative summary from the cohort that they're working in.
Yeah, that part, the summary itself really doesn't matter because this link is, if they have the link saved somewhere else, the summary doesn't matter. The only thing unique about this summary is that link. So they could fill this out for someone in year 1 and someone in year 2. As long as they click on the appropriate link, they're good.
Yes, that's what I meant. Yeah.
One other thing I've been encountering, let me go to Schoology real quick here. That the candidates, or some of the coaches are saying, I see my advisees here, but I don't have a shared folder with them. They're two separate things. This, being able to see them here simply means that I've connected them as the advisor. You can create under personal resources a shared folder with whomever you want to share it with. Just because you have a shared folder with that person doesn't necessarily mean we've properly linked you. So there's been some things that have fallen through the cracks on both sides. And I did send out that list, and I do know there's been changes, but I sent out the list to the local program coordinators to fill in some of the blanks. I had about 20-some people who had no coaches. Creating a shared folder, I had a little video with to create a shared folder. anyone can do that. And that's just, we tried to do as many as we could ahead of time, but sometimes we didn't quite get in there before people changed their passwords, or we set it all up and then there was a coach change. So now Christina Soderblom has a folder that's shared with Bob, but Leslie's coaching Bob now and she's coaching Jim. So you could rename a folder if you're the one who created it, but it's better to create a new folder, because if I can rename this shared with Jim, but it's still being shared with Bob. When you click on it, it'll show you who it's being shared with right here. So I would have to delete Bob and change it to Jim as well. So it's probably better to create another folder. Another thing I've seen is sometimes these two folders are above this little gray line because they're my resources. I created them. A lot of times because coaches are coaching people from both cohorts, they got all the year one stuff. They went in, they logged in, they changed their password. And then when we put in the year two candidate, or I guess it's the other way around, the candidates who are just starting in the fall, the coaches had changed their password, so I couldn't go in as the coach to create the folder, so I had to go in as the candidate. When that happens, the shared folder's down here because it's something people are sharing with me. It's not my resource. That's been a little bit confusing to some of the coaches. But it doesn't matter what's below the line or above the line. As long as it's shared with you, it's good. The only difference is I can go in and delete this folder because I created it. If it's down here below the line and Leslie created it and shared it with me, I may be able to upload things to it and edit it, but I can't delete it.
Okay.
So it's not too big of a difference. Other things you're seeing that you think might be helpful, or questions that you want me to touch base on?
No.
Are you good? You're all Schoology'd out.
Oh, Christina, the question has come up from people collecting all of these resources and summaries in their shared with file. And then the point about moving them to their portfolio.
Yeah. That's something. I have a meeting with Margaret. I think you were on the first call. Oh, no, maybe you weren't. Somebody asked about that. I have a meeting with Margaret on Tuesday, and it has been suggested that instead of creating a portfolio, that maybe what the candidate does is just organize their personal folder here.
Okay. Right.
So I'm not sure if Margaret's going to go for that or not.
Okay.
But since it's all already there, it might be easier to do that than create the portfolio. But I also don't know, and maybe you know better, Leslie, the portfolio itself, it's not going to have every single collaborative summary in there, right? It just has a handful. So in the portfolio, which I'll kind of just go over real quick to one of my portfolios.
Because I kind of played with it and I didn't know what to tell candidates. Yeah.
Yeah, they basically would be adding items here.
Right.
And they would have to add a file or a link. And for the most part, that means that they would have to go to their resources. Probably what I would do if I were doing this is I would create a little folder on my desktop that says, my portfolio. And I would put everything in here that I wanted to upload to my portfolio. And if that means I have to download it from Schoology, I have to download it from Schoology. Like maybe this presentation I want to download. So then I would go in, click on my name in my portfolio, and say this is my sample capsule portfolio. I would add the file, go to my portfolio here, and just highlight all the items and upload them in one fell swoop.
Okay.
That'd probably be the easiest way to do it. We don't really have assignment submissions, so they can't just drag things over internally from Schoology. They probably aren't going to create their own page or link. I would guess for the most part, it's going to be this goal sheet, right? Their leadership and learning plan, maybe their artifacts, and some collaborative summaries, right?
Yeah, that's basically some artifacts, things they've downloaded into Schoology as evidence. Yeah.
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 So this actually is, I think, a nicer presentation of the materials than the little shared collection or the shared folder, but we'll have to see. I mean, if it's all of the items, like all of the collaborative summaries in the app, it makes more sense to save it in the resources. But if it's maybe 6 or 8 items total or 12 items, I think it would look nicer in this portfolio piece.
So we'll wait to hear from Margaret is basically what we're doing.
Yeah, and we've got a little bit of time on that, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And as far as portfolios too, and creating portfolios, I don't know if I showed that last time, but you click on your name, and then this tab for portfolios appears, and you click on that, and you're just adding a new portfolio.
Yeah, I played with it myself.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I'm not sure if this is where the new coaches' portfolios are going to be housed either. I did have that question, so I need to follow up with that.
Okay.
And see,
right.
because I know they have some things. One other quick thing on the coaches' resources. I'm going to go to group or resources group. I did kind of streamline this a little bit, and I will be adding some different tutorials and things in here as well. So,
Right.
Okie dokie. We still have Pat here somewhere.
Yes, Pat's still here.
Yay! Yay!
Yeah,
but you still have no video, right?
I have video, but I don't see any connection between what you're saying and the video. So, frankly, I don't know. I've got your picture there. I see you talking, and you're coming in on my phone, but I've got 2 different screen pictures up, one on my iPad and one on my laptop.
Oh, so, they're not going, huh?
I guess not. I don't have a clue what's happening or what you're doing, frankly. So.
Okay, well let's follow up after this, because it's going to make much more sense when you see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Other questions or?
No, that's great.
We're good. Okay, so I will. I'm going to archive this video, and then I'm going to go ahead and just put it in the local program coordinators folder here. This is under groups for local program coordinator. This is the last WebEx I did right here. You can play it within Schoology. You can link to it on YouTube, or you can download it and share it out. Someone did request that I share it out with the coaches, so I think that I will go ahead and share it with the coaches via the YouTube link.
Okay.
So, and this one that I'm just doing right now will pop up here in just a little bit once I download it. Okay, well, I guess if we don't have any more questions, it's Happy Friday.
Thank you.
And thank you all very much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Have a great weekend.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
You too. Okay, bye-bye. Let's see, Pat, are you still there?
I'm still there, and that last piece is up on the screen that you were just speaking of, so that is fine.
Oh, okay, good. Let me, oops. I'm going to stop recording my meeting here.